Digital dollar in Canada. Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens to your money after you spend it? Every coin, every bill, every card swipe, and every online transfer, once it leaves your hand, it enters a hidden world. A world that is vast, powerful, and constantly changing. In Canada, this world moves quietly but forcefully like an underground river. Billions of payments flow through it every day, shaping not only the economy but also the daily lives of every person. In 2023, Canadians made a staggering 21.7 billion payment transactions. And the value of those transactions? $11.9 trillion. Numbers so massive they are almost impossible to picture. But those numbers reveal a story, one of growth, decline, and transformation. This story is not guesswork. It is not speculation. It is taken directly from the Canadian Payment Methods and Trends Report 2024 published by Payments Canada. This report shows with hard data how Canadians are paying, how habits are shifting, and what the future of money might look like. And the story it tells is both dramatic and unsettling. Some ways of paying are disappearing, others are rising so quickly they may soon dominate everything, and new possibilities, like a digital Canadian dollar, are forcing people to ask questions about privacy, trust, and control. So let us walk step by step through the world of Canadian payments as the report reveals it. A world of bills and coins fighting to survive. A world of cards gaining dominance. A world of digital transfers exploding. And a world where artificial intelligence and central bank innovations may soon rewrite the rules of money itself. A world of bills and coins fighting to survive, paper in decline once paper ruled, cash was king, checks were the standard way to pay rent, bills and wages. But the report makes one thing clear, paper is losing its crown. From 2019 to 2023, the number of cash transactions dropped by 20%. That means 1 out of every 5 cash payments vanished in just 5 years. Checks fell even harder. The volume of checks decreased by 35%, while their total value dropped by 20%. Even from 2022 to 2023, the decline continued. Personal check use alone fell by 18% in just 1 year. Yes, some commercial checks remain. Businesses still use them in certain situations. But overall, the trend is unmistakable. Checks are slipping away, replaced by faster and easier methods. Cash, meanwhile, holds on more tightly. According to survey data, 55% of Canadians say they have no desire to stop using cash completely. For many, it remains a reliable backup. Something tangible, something trusted. Yet only 13% of Canadians have actually gone fully cashless. This shows that while coins and bills are still here, their role in the payment system is shrinking. Cash is still used for quick purchases, small transactions, and as a safety net. But the report warns us, year after year its share of the market grows smaller. Cash is not dead yet, but its decline is steady, and it may eventually fade into the margins. Cards dominate. If paper is shrinking, what is taking its place? The answer is clear: cards. In 2023, card payments, including debit, credit, and prepaid, made up 63% of all transactions in Canada. That means almost 2 out of every 3 payments was made with plastic. Credit cards are the leader. They were used for 7.1 billion transactions, with a total value of $847 billion. Debit cards followed closely with 6.6 billion transactions, worth $302 billion. Prepaid cards, though smaller, grew too, reaching $24 billion in value. But the most striking detail is not just the overall volume, it is how people are using these cards. In 2023, contactless payments exploded. Credit card tap transactions grew by 20%. Debit card tap payments increased by 13%. Together, contactless transactions represented a major part of everyday spending. Why? Because Canadians value speed and convenience. Tapping a card is quick, it feels effortless. The report shows that in many categories, restaurants, bars, gas stations, grocery stores, tap use is increasing steadily. This is a major shift from the days when cash was faster. Now, cards are not only dominant, they are reshaping the habits of consumers. While cards dominate at the checkout counter, a different revolution is happening in the digital world. Electronic funds transfers, or EFTs, are growing steadily. EFTs include things like direct deposits of paychecks, automatic bill payments, and electronic remittances. From 2019 to 2023, EFT volume rose by 8%, while total value climbed by 40%. That is a huge leap in the money being moved electronically. But even more dramatic is the growth of online transfers, services like Interac e-Transfer and PayPal. Between 2019 and 2023, online transfer volume skyrocketed by 136%, and total value soared by 160%. In just 5 years, they became the fastest-growing method of payment in Canada. By 2023, online transfers made up 6% of all transactions. That may sound small compared to cards, but the growth rate shows something powerful. Canadians are embracing peer-to-peer and online transfer systems at an astonishing speed. The report also notes that this growth is beginning to slow, not because demand is falling, but because adoption is reaching maturity. In 2023, there were 27.6 million unique monthly Interac e-Transfer users in Canada. That is 68% of the entire population. Once so many people are already using it, the growth naturally levels off. Still, online transfers are here to stay. They are quick, convenient, and trusted by both businesses and consumers. Comparing 2022 to 2023 reveals further insights. Total payments grew by 6% in volume and 1% in value. Cash actually increased slightly in 2023, with volume up 15% and value up 4%, a short rebound after pandemic declines, but checks continued to fall, down 6% in volume and 11% in value. Cards rose across the board, with prepaid cards seeing the biggest increase in value at 10%. Credit cards grew 6% in value, debit 2%, and prepaid surged. EFT volume rose by 3%, while value increased by 5%. Online transfers expanded by 14% in volume and 20% in value. In other words, the general story is consistent. Paper continues to decline. Cards hold the majority share. Online transfers remain the fastest grower. EFTs sustain their role as the backbone of high-value payments. The pandemic once made people fearful of touching cash. Between 2020 and 2023, concern about virus transmission through banknotes and coins dropped sharply. By 2023, fewer Canadians avoided cash, and fewer refused to shop at places without contactless options. In June 2020, 38% said they avoided stores that didn't take tap. By June 2023, only 17% still did. This shows how quickly habits can change. Contactless, once a novelty, has become normal, and Canadians now expect to have it everywhere. The report also highlights the growing role of e-commerce. In 2023, online retail sales accounted for 5.7% of total retail sales, up from 5.5% in 2022. More than half of Canadians, 57%, made an online purchase in a given month in 2023. This was up from 55% the year before. This steady rise in digital shopping reinforces the broader trend. Canadians are comfortable buying with clicks instead of coins. But beyond cards, cash, and transfers, the report reveals something bigger on the horizon: the possibility of a digital Canadian dollar. The Bank of Canada has been consulting with citizens and stakeholders since 2020. The findings show a divided country. 36% of Canadians find a digital dollar appealing. 30% do not. And 63% say they would continue to use cash even if a digital dollar were introduced. Concerns are clear. People want privacy. They fear a digital dollar could compromise it. They want easy access, without barriers. They want to make sure financial stability is not harmed. The Bank of Canada has promised that a digital dollar would not pay interest and would not require Canadians to disclose private information. Still, the debate remains open. A new force is emerging: generative artificial intelligence. The report explains how Gen AI, a form of AI that can create text, images, or predictions, is being tested in payments. It can enhance fraud detection by analyzing billions of transactions in real time. It can automate back-office work like invoice matching and reconciliation. It can create personalized customer experiences, tailoring offers and services to individual users. But risks exist too. Data bias could lead to unfair outcomes. Privacy is a concern since AI often requires massive datasets. And over-reliance could cause employees to trust AI decisions too blindly. Globally, banks are starting small, testing AI internally, then scaling up carefully. Cybersecurity is critical as fraudsters also use AI to design scams. The future is clear. AI will reshape payments, but it must be handled cautiously. The world of payments is not only about what you spend at the corner store or what you buy online, it is also about how money moves between people, between companies, and even across borders. The report opens a window into these deeper layers, the flows that connect Canadians to the rest of the world, and the systems businesses rely on to survive. And what it shows is that change is not slowing down, it is accelerating. The old ways are falling away, and new digital systems are pushing to the front. International payments, a growing flow. 1 in 5 Canadians sent money abroad in 2023, that is a 33% increase compared to the year before. Why? The report explains. Families are sending remittances to relatives living overseas. Consumers are shopping from international retailers, and businesses are paying international bills or government charges. But sending money across borders is not easy. The study shows the most common complaints. 26% mentioned hidden fees. 23% said costs per transaction were too high. 17% worried about unclear foreign exchange rates. 17% were frustrated by transfer limits. 17% said the process was too slow. So while more Canadians are sending money internationally, dissatisfaction is also growing. This highlights the demand for innovation, transparency, and lower costs in cross-border payments. Business payments transformation underway. Businesses are also reshaping how they pay. The report highlights that many Canadian businesses are moving away from paper-based systems. Checks, once dominant for payroll and supplier payments, are in long decline. Instead, businesses are adopting electronic payments, EFTs, and online transfers. Why? Because they offer speed, efficiency, and lower processing costs. But there is more. Nearly half of Canadian businesses, 49%, say they are interested in using generative AI to improve operations. The top areas where businesses see potential are: 1. Fraud detection. AI scanning unusual patterns to block fraud in real time. 2. Automated processing, matching invoices, reconciling accounts, reducing human error. 3. Personalized services, creating tailored experiences for customers, building loyalty. Businesses know the risks, but they also know the potential savings in time and money. For them, the shift to digital is not optional, it is survival. COVID-19 and its aftermath. The pandemic left deep marks on Canadian payment habits. In 2020, fear of touching money or payment terminals was high. At the peak of the crisis, 69% said they used ATMs less often, and 42% said they felt uncomfortable handling cash. By 2023, those numbers had dropped sharply. 46% still used ATMs less, but only 22% still felt uneasy with cash. Contactless surged during the pandemic. Transaction limits were raised, making it possible to pay up to $250 by tap, and new alternatives appeared like QR code payments through PayPal. But as restrictions eased, something interesting happened. Cash rebounded slightly. People who had abandoned it entirely began using it again, particularly for rent, food, or services. The long-term trend is still decline, but the rebound shows that cash has not vanished. It remains a fallback when digital systems fail. Generational differences. The report also shows differences across generations. Gen Z, born 1997-2012, 55% unconcerned about COVID-19, 21% still concerned, strong adopters of digital payments. Millennials, 1981-1996, 58% unconcerned, 18% concerned. heavy users of contactless and online transfers. Gen X, 1966, 1980, 53% unconcerned, 20% concerned. Mix of digital and traditional methods. Baby boomers, 1946-1965, 42% unconcerned, 29% concerned, more likely to still use cash and checks. This highlights the generational divide. Younger Canadians lead the digital wave. Older Canadians keep one foot in traditional methods. Over time, as younger groups age, digital use will likely dominate even more strongly. Risks of artificial intelligence. The integration of generative AI into payments is not without dangers. The report identifies several critical risks. External impacts. AI can be misused to create synthetic media, spread misinformation, or design scams. Data quality. AI is only as good as the data it learns from. If the data is biased, the outcomes are biased. Privacy. Training models requires enormous data sets, often including personal financial information. Security. AI can create new vulnerabilities like poison data or malicious code. Over-reliance. As AI takes over routine tasks, employees may lose critical judgment skills, blindly trusting machine output. These risks mean that companies cannot simply adopt AI quickly. They must test carefully, monitor constantly, and ensure human oversight remains strong. Global lessons. The Canadian experience is not unique. Around the world, banks and payment companies are testing generative AI. Early lessons show that it is best to start small, focus on high-impact use cases, and build infrastructure before scaling up. Globally, 38% of Canadian financial organizations already have advanced AI/ML implementations in cybersecurity. This shows Canada is not falling behind, but it also means the country is on the front lines of risk. In the coming years, the technology will likely move from strategy to workforce changes, reskilling employees and updating governance frameworks. The bigger picture, payment modernization. The report also describes how Canada's payment systems are being modernized. The Canadian Payments Act, CP Act, was amended to expand Payments Canada membership. This opens the door to more payment service providers joining the national system. The Retail Payment Activities Act, RPAA, was finalized. This law regulates retail payment activities, ensuring funds are protected and risks are managed. The Link system, Canada's high-value real-time settlement system, added a new data center for resilience. ISO 20022 harmonization, payments. Canada submitted its response to global standards, moving toward data-rich international messaging for smoother cross-border payments. All these changes show one thing: Canada is building the infrastructure for a fully digital future. Consumer desire surveys included in the report highlight what Canadians want. 60% say they would use real-time payments if widely available. Top reasons for sending money instantly: paying beyond e-transfer limits, paying a credit card bill, or covering household expenses like utilities. Top reasons for receiving instantly: getting payments above e-transfer limits, receiving government benefits, or receiving refunds for cancellations or overpayments. Canadians clearly want speed, reliability, and transparency. They want payments to be instant, simple, and cheap. Digital currencies. Beyond a digital Canadian dollar, Canadians also experiment with other digital assets. In 2023, 10% of adults said they had used or held cryptocurrency for payments or investment. However, these still represent a small share of total payments, less than 1%. The Bank of Canada continues consultations, stressing that any digital dollar would need to protect privacy, remain accessible, and avoid adding barriers. Payment categories. The report provides detailed breakdowns of payment categories. Paper, cash volumes up 15% in 2023, check volumes down 6%. Cards, all card types up 5% in volume, prepaid up 10% in value. Electronic, EFT volume up 3%, online transfers up 14%, point of sale versus remote, POS dominated by cards, remote by EFT and online transfers. Each figure reveals a system in transition. The direction is clear: digital methods grow, paper methods decline. Security and trust remains the foundation of payments. Canadians want convenience, but not at the cost of safety. That is why fraud prevention is central. Generative AI is being used to spot authorized push payment fraud when people are tricked into sending money to fake accounts. By analyzing trillions of data points in real time, AI can detect patterns humans cannot. But this requires constant monitoring to prevent false positives and to ensure accuracy. The balance between speed and security will define the next era of payments. Repetition for emphasis. The report makes one conclusion very clear: paper is shrinking, cards dominate, online transfers are the fastest grower, EFT remains the backbone of value, digital currency is debated, AI is transforming payments. Again, paper is shrinking, cards dominate, online transfers are the fastest grower, EFT remains the backbone of value, digital currency is debated, AI is transforming payments. This is the heartbeat of Canadian money today. The transformation of payments is not only about numbers, volumes, and values, it is also about people, their habits, their fears, their hopes, and their demands for the future. The Canadian Payment Methods and Trends Report 2024 does not only track data, it also listens to Canadians, asking them how they feel about money, what they want from payments, and what keeps them awake at night. And those voices reveal the human side of the payment revolution. The survey shows that Canadians remain divided on cash. While the number of cash transactions is shrinking, many still see value in holding on to it. 55% said they do not want a completely cashless society. 63% said they would continue to use cash even if a digital dollar was launched. Only 13% had fully abandoned cash by 2023. This shows that cash continues to provide comfort, especially during uncertainty. It is more than a tool of exchange, it is a symbol of control and security. Yet at the same time, its role keeps shrinking. The report demonstrates how Canadians are slowly migrating to electronic forms, even as they cling to the idea of physical money. Automatic teller machines, or ATMs, were once essential, but in 2023, many Canadians said they use them less often. 46% said they now visit ATMs less frequently than before the pandemic. The decline is strongest among younger generations who rarely need to withdraw cash at all. ATMs remain a tool for access, but their importance is slowly fading. Just as checks gave way to transfers, ATMs are losing ground to digital wallets, online transfers, and mobile payments. The report breaks down transactions into two categories: point of sale, POS, and remote payments. Point of sale refers to in-person payments, such as buying groceries or gas. Remote payments include online purchases, bill payments, and transfers. In 2023, POS transactions represented 72% of total volume, but remote payments represented 78% of total value. This difference is critical. People use POS methods more often, but remote transactions move larger sums of money. And within remote payments, EFT dominates, carrying billions in business-to-business transfers, payroll, and government transactions. This split shows the dual nature of payments: small, quick transactions at the counter, and massive digital transfers behind the scenes. Real-time payments. One of the strongest desires expressed in surveys is for real-time payments. When Canadians were asked if they would use them, 60% said yes. They want the ability to send and receive money instantly, at any time, without waiting for delays. Top reasons to send money instantly include paying amounts larger than e-transfer limits, making last-minute credit card payments, paying urgent household bills. Top reasons to receive instantly include receiving large payments beyond e-transfer limits, collecting government benefits, getting fast refunds, Canadians see the value of real-time systems as immediate convenience and flexibility. It is not just about speed, it is about control and certainty. Concerns about digital dollars. The debate over a central bank digital currency or CBDC highlights both curiosity and caution. Supporters point to accessibility, innovation, and the ability to modernize money itself. But concerns are strong. Privacy. People fear that digital transactions could be tracked too closely. Financial stability. Some worry that a digital dollar could destabilize existing banking systems. Access. Citizens want to ensure no one is excluded, including those without smartphones or bank accounts. The Bank of Canada has made promises. They say the digital dollar would not pay interest and would not require personal details for basic use. But skepticism remains. The survey shows that most Canadians still see cash as essential, even in a digital age. Business attitudes. Businesses are also adjusting. The shift from checks to electronic payments is nearly complete for many. Payroll, supplier invoices, and recurring bills are increasingly handled digitally. But businesses also face challenges. Fraud is a constant risk. Cross-border payments are costly and complex. And implementing new systems requires investment and staff training. That is why many businesses are exploring artificial intelligence and automation. They hope these tools will streamline back-office work, reduce errors, and catch fraud before it spreads. The adoption rate is rising. According to the report, 49% of Canadian businesses are open to using AI tools in the near future. This points to a wave of innovation that may soon reshape business payments just as cards reshaped consumer spending. Fraud remains one of the greatest risks. Canadians want payments that are fast, but they must also be safe. The report highlights authorized push payment fraud, where criminals trick people into sending money to fake accounts. This type of fraud is rising globally, and Canada is not immune. Generative AI provides new tools to fight it. By analyzing billions of transactions in real time, AI can spot suspicious patterns no human could detect. But criminals also use AI, creating deep-fake voices, fake documents, and sophisticated scams. The fight is escalating. Security teams must constantly adapt, balancing speed with protection. The statistics may seem abstract, but they affect everyday life. A student paying tuition now uses online transfers instead of checks. A worker receiving wages gets direct deposit through EFT. A family shopping for groceries taps a debit card instead of handing over cash. A business paying international suppliers struggles with fees and exchange rates. Every one of these actions is part of the massive 21.7 billion transactions recorded in 2023. Every action is a thread in the vast web of Canada's payment system. Canada is not standing still. The report details ongoing modernization projects that will shape the next decade. Payments. Canada membership expansion. More financial technology firms can now join, increasing competition and innovation. Retail Payment Activities Act, RPAA, establishes clear oversight and consumer protections in the retail payment sector. Links high-value system upgrades, strengthens resilience with a new data center and prepares for future real-time capabilities. ISO 20022 standards adoption, moves Canada into line with international systems, making cross-border payments faster and more transparent. Each of these changes pushes Canada toward a fully digital, data-rich payment environment. Although small, cryptocurrency use continues. In 2023, 10% of Canadians reported using or holding digital assets, either for payments or investment. But the report is clear. Crypto remains less than 1% of total payment volume. It is not yet a mainstream option. Still, it shows that Canadians are experimenting with alternatives, testing the boundaries of traditional systems. When all of these details are combined, the picture is clear. Cash is in decline, checks are fading, cards dominate everyday transactions, EFT powers large value payments, online transfers are the fastest growing, e-commerce continues to expand, real-time payments are in demand, digital currencies are debated, AI is reshaping security and operations. This is not speculation, it is the documented reality of Canadian money in 2023. The report concludes that the next years will bring further changes. More businesses will adopt digital-first strategies, moving away from checks and manual processes. Consumers will expect instant payments, contactless options everywhere, and safe online transfers. Cash will continue to decline, though it may remain as a backup system. The debate over a digital dollar will intensify as other countries like the United States and European Union explore their own CBDCs. Artificial intelligence will become a central player in fraud detection, automation and personalization, but will also require new frameworks of governance and oversight. The Canadian payment system is not static. It is evolving every year, reshaping itself under the pressures of technology, consumer demand, and global trends. Final repetition, the 6 truths. To make it unforgettable, here are the 6 truths again. 1. Cash is declining. 2. Checks are disappearing. 3. Cards are dominant. 4. Online transfers are the fastest grower. 5. Digital money is debated. 6. Artificial intelligence is transforming payments. Say it once more. Cash is declining. Checks are disappearing. Cards are dominant. Online transfers are the fastest grower. Digital money is debated. Artificial intelligence is transforming payments. These 6 truths define the present and signal the future of money in Canada. Closing note. Everything described here comes directly from one source, the Canadian Payment Methods and Trends Report, 2024, published by Payments Canada. This is the official record of how Canadians are paying, how habits are shifting, and what lies ahead. Payments Canada, 2024. Canadian Payment Methods and Trends Report, 2024, Ottawa, Canada.